Hi, it's Melanie here, and as promised, I'll be talking about how you can lose 5 kilos by Christmas in this little video, and also foods that you can eat to prevent cravings. So I just want to cover those things off in the next few minutes. I hope you get a lot out of this, and if you have questions, please put them in the comments and I'll come back and answer them later on. So if you want to lose weight, say 5 kilos by Christmas, basically it means you have to do something different than you're doing right now. It means that what you're doing now isn't working. Hi Misha, great to see you here. So I'm just saying that, to lose 5 kilos by Christmas, you need to do something different than what you're doing now. And normally that means it's calories in, it's calories out, and it's the quality of food. They're the things that influence your weight primarily. And assuming that you don't have any health conditions or medications or hormonal issues that are keeping you stuck with weight, then it's those 3 simple things that you can work on. So let's start with the fact that your body adapts very quickly within 6 weeks to the eating and exercise plan that you're following. So if you've been doing something for a while and you're not seeing any shifts, it's probably because your body's adapted and you need to do something a little bit different. So let's start with calories in. Now there are 2 things that are important here. Eating too much or eating too little can cause you to gain weight. So let's start with eating too little. And really it means that you need to have a good lunch and a good dinner every day, a fairly decent portion of food, so that you feel satisfied afterwards. Certain body types, certain metabolic types don't do well with breakfast. So if you're a breakfast person, have that too. If you're not, it probably means you need a mid to late morning snack, something reasonably calorie dense like some nuts and a bit of fruit. Well, the nuts are calorie dense obviously, to get you through to lunch. So having 2 good meals and some sort of breakfast or morning snack at least is important. So those regular meals will keep your metabolism ticking over. Too few calories means your body will start conserving weight. Now the problem that we more often see is people eating too much, and that's portion size. And rather than try and figure out what to eat or weigh food, let's make it really simple and say that the easiest way to manage portion size is simply at dinner, which is the meal most people overeat at, is to eat from a smaller plate. It's so simple, but when you put a smaller plate out and you're used to dishing up your plate, you're limited by the size of the plate. It's so simple, so brainless. All you have to do is use that smaller plate and you'll automatically eat less. Now, one of the other things that people do is they eat until they're too full. They've had too much to eat. That's a fairly common thing at dinner time, but can also happen on the weekends when you're going out. So I think really the key is to know that maybe 18 of the 21 meals you have each week, you need to be eating until comfortable. Easy again to check that you're doing this and getting it right. It's simply a matter of listening to your body and eating a bit slower over, say, 20 minutes, putting your fork down between bites so that, when you've been eating for a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, you know that you've had enough and you can stop and save the rest for leftovers if you have leftovers. Hopefully, if you're using the smaller plate, you won't have the leftovers. So those internal signals that your body gives you, like you've nearly had enough to eat, listen to those. That is probably one of the single biggest things that people don't do, and it's one of the most effective. So that's a brief look at calories in. And one more thing I want to say actually, if you're drinking alcohol during the week, alcohol is empty calories. It's easy to burn. Your body prefers to burn alcohol and would rather do that than burn the food that you're eating. If you're drinking a bottle of wine, that's nearly a meal's worth of calories. And it will make you hungry, and it will lower your inhibitions and probably cause you to overeat. So one thing you can do with alcohol is to just be sure that you're going to have 1 glass of wine at dinner, if that's what you're having, and that's it. More than that, and you're starting to have unnecessary calories and possibly break down some of the inhibitions that might prevent you from being a bit more mindful with your food choices. There is actually one other thing I want to mention on calories in. After dinner, do you actually need dessert? Do you need a second portion, or do you need a snack before bed? Most of the time the answer is no. If you are truly hungry, then by all means have something to eat. Have, 10 or 15 nuts or a piece of fruit or a cup of tea. But if you've had a reasonable dinner then you shouldn't need to eat anything after that. If you're going to bed around 9 or even 10 o'clock and you've had dinner between 6 and 7, that should be enough to tide you over to the morning. So simply not having dessert, seconds, or the evening snack can bring your portion size down, your calorie intake down, and that all of those things, or at least one of those things, will help you to lose 5 kilos by Christmas. The other side of that is calories out, and if you're able to exercise, once again the same principle applies with the food. What you've been doing up until now is keeping you at a certain weight. If you want to lose weight, you'll need to do something different. With exercise, it normally means you need to do more often, or you need to do a higher intensity of exercise. The two best types of exercise are, unless you're awake till 11 to 12 p.m. That's right, Michelle, I think you're talking about the food there. I've just seen that comment come through, and in that case, maybe you do need the evening snack. So with the exercise, the most effective exercise to do is high intensity training or heavy lifting. If you aren't able to do those, then you're looking at longer duration things like walking, but anything that causes you to huff and puff. What you really want to do is get your calorie burn up after you've finished exercising, and that's where the high intensity or the weight bearing or the heavy lifting type exercise will help you to burn more calories after you've finished exercising. But, even the longer walk will do that too. So if you're able to fit in one long walk with some brisk sections in it, so perhaps an hour and a half or a 2-hour walk, or a bit of climbing over fences or obstacles or something like that, that's an effective exercise, or soft sand walking on the beach. What you're trying to do is approach it from two angles, and that is eating less food and better quality food, whole food, and then exercising differently and a little bit more, and doing something with intensity. So the easy way to boost intensity with walking is to increase it to a jog or a brisk stride, or to walk up hills or stairs. Any of those sorts of things will bump up your heart rate and use more muscles so that you're burning more calories. So just before we talk about the foods that help to diminish cravings, which I wanted to cover next, with the eating, it's eating off a smaller plate. It's not having dessert or an evening snack. It's, now I can't remember what else I said earlier on. Eating off a smaller plate, eating until you're comfortable instead of full, eating breakfast, lunch and dinner, and making sure you have regular meals, and then keeping your alcohol intake low as well. The other thing is to bump up the exercise, either the amount you're doing, as in a longer session, or more often, or the intensity. So those things will help you to lose 5 kilos by Christmas if you do them every week, and I suggest that you get your calendar out and you schedule the sessions in. So schedule it in and schedule in what you need to do for your week to eat well. Write it all down, and then you'll have a plan for the next 6 weeks that you'll actually action. So with regard to foods that bust cravings, I wanted to talk about a couple of different types of craving. Firstly, there's chocolate cravings, and people eat chocolate for different reasons. For some people, it's comfort eating. For some people, it's more convenient to grab some chocolate instead of having a proper meal. It's a convenient energy boost. For some people, it's comfort. For some people, they're just a bit tired and fatigued and they need a bit of a sugar or a caffeine hit, which comes from the chocolate. And for some people, it's actually a magnesium deficiency. So considering all of those things, instead of reaching for chocolate, there are other things that can fulfill those needs. One of the best ways to avoid those cravings in the first place is to have enough protein at your main meals. And that means fish, chicken, meat, eggs, nuts, seeds, legumes, or protein and fat really. Any of those will help you. And a great snack that's portable is a little tub of yogurt, or a boiled egg, or a small can of tuna, or a bean and nut salad. Any of those things make really quick and easy mid-afternoon snacks. And something that I actually really love are those chick nuts. You can buy dried chickpeas and fava beans in a little packet. High in protein and carbs, satisfying and crunchy, which is a really great alternative. You can also take magnesium supplements if it's safe for you to do so. So magnesium is that other thing that people are often looking for with chocolate. And improving your diet generally in terms of green leafy vegetables, nuts and seeds is a great way to boost your magnesium intake. Another type of craving that comes up is the crunchy craving, and this is for people who are stressed and anxious, and it's that middle of the afternoon or just before dinner and you want something to crunch on. So, you know, it's easy to say, well, nuts are a great option there, but of course nuts are high in fat and high in calories, which may or may not suit your goal for losing weight, because the temptation is once you start with a nut, you can't stop. So I guess the thing with crunchy foods is carrot sticks, celery sticks, capsicum sticks, and having some sort of nice dip that you can make, like a tzatziki dip or something, is a great way to get that crunch. Or those dried chickpeas or dried fava beans that I mentioned earlier are a great way to satisfy that crunchy craving without going into piles and piles of biscuits or crackers, which are just, you know, starch and calorie laden, empty calories that are totally unnecessary. So the crunchy craving, to manage stress or anxiety or those sorts of things, if you really feel like that sort of snack, go with fresh, raw, crisp vegetables, or even an apple might be good for you too. I can't think of any other calories. I guess if you're after something like bread or something starchy, then perhaps that's an energy thing or a fibre thing. And I would actually go for some legumes, like some baked beans or something like that. Or maybe a green salad with some nuts in it might be kind of a bit better than a bread. I know it sounds like an odd thing to swap bread for something like that, but it probably will give that feeling of satisfaction, but in a different way. So there's a few different things you can eat for cravings, but generally speaking, if you're eating enough protein at breakfast, lunch and dinner, which is a palm-sized serving, by the way, so that might be 1 or 2 eggs at breakfast, that much tuna or chicken or meat or even beans. Beans are quite high in carbs, but they also have some protein in them. At lunch and dinner is one of the easiest ways to avoid cravings in the first place. So I've covered a lot of stuff today. I hope that's been useful, but what I'd suggest you do is when this video is over, this Facebook Live's over, you might want to watch it again and write some notes and make yourself a bit of a 6-week plan. From now until Christmas, how could you fit in some extra exercise? What could you do to boost the intensity? Even if it's walking with your arms in the air and some weights in your hands, that's hard work. That's getting your heart working harder, and it's a really simple way to boost the intensity, simply to lift your arms up. Might not look so cool, but it does actually work. And then just look at the smaller plate, the alcohol and all those things, and be really clear on what you can actually realistically commit to doing, and then make time for it. You'll need 2 to 3 hours a week to do these things. There's no quick fix, there's no easy solution, there's no pill. It requires 2 to 3 hours of your week to plan, to exercise and to fit it in. And if you want it, you'll make it happen. I hope that's been helpful. Thanks, Misha. I'm glad you liked it. And I'd love to know how you go. So go away and write your plan and keep me posted on what you do and how it works for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.